The city glittered like a promise it could not keep, and on the last night of the year, even the richest man in the room felt invisible. Outside the most exclusive restaurant in downtown Manhattan, snow drifted softly as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for midnight. Inside, laughter and champagne flowed freely, yet standing just beyond the velvet rope was a man who owned half the skyline and none of its warmth. This was the night when loneliness weighed heavier than billions, and when one unexpected gesture would quietly change two lives forever. Before this story unfolds any further, take a moment to pause. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of human connection, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may need them most. His name was Jonathan Hale, a 42-year-old CEO whose name appeared on business magazines and financial headlines across the United States. Jonathan had built a technology empire from nothing, starting with a broken laptop and a rented garage in San Jose, then expanding into offices in New York, Chicago, and Seattle. His suits were tailored, his watch cost more than most people's cars, and his penthouse overlooked the Hudson River. Yet on New Year's Eve, as couples and families streamed past him into the restaurant, Jonathan felt smaller than he ever had during any boardroom battle or billion-dollar negotiation. He had forgotten to make a reservation, something assistants usually handled, and for the first time in years, there was no one beside him to fix the problem. The hostess recognized him instantly, but recognition did not create space where none existed. Every table was booked, every chair filled with celebration. Jonathan nodded politely, masking disappointment with the practiced calm of a man used to control, and stepped aside to wait. He told himself it did not matter. He told himself he could order takeout and eat alone in his penthouse as he had done many nights before. But the truth pressed against his chest with every laugh he overheard, every toast raised to love, family, and new beginnings. His parents were gone, his marriage had ended years ago under the weight of ambition, and friendships had slowly faded into polite holiday emails. Success had given him everything except someone to share moments with. Across the restaurant, near a window fogged by warmth and breath, sat a man named Michael Carter. Michael was 35, a single father with tired eyes and steady hands, balancing a small celebration with his 6-year-old son, Noah. Life had not turned out as Michael once imagined. After his wife passed away from illness 3 years earlier in Ohio, he moved to New York for a better job and a fresh start, working long hours as a construction site supervisor. Money was tight, but tonight he had saved for weeks to give Noah something special, a simple dinner, a small spark of joy to end a difficult year. Noah laughed at the paper crown on his head, unaware of how carefully his father counted every dollar in his wallet. Michael noticed Jonathan standing alone almost immediately. There was something unmistakable about the way loneliness settles on a person, regardless of wealth or status. Michael recognized it because he lived with it daily, feeling it in the quiet after Noah fell asleep, in the empty space on the couch where his wife once sat. As he watched Jonathan check his phone and then stare at the floor, Michael felt an unexpected pull in his chest. He did not know the man's name or his story, but he knew that no one should start a new year feeling unwanted. Without overthinking it, Michael slowly stood up from his chair. He looked around, making sure there was space, then lifted his hand and waved gently toward Jonathan, a simple motion filled with courage and kindness. The gesture was small, almost invisible amid the glittering room, but it landed with surprising force. Jonathan looked up, confused at first, then saw the single father smiling, pointing to the empty chair at his table. For a moment, Jonathan hesitated. Pride whispered that he did not belong there, that he should leave with dignity intact. But something deeper, something human, urged him forward. Jonathan walked across the room, the noise fading as if the world narrowed to that single table. He nodded his thanks, taking the seat offered without questions or explanations. Noah stared at him with wide-eyed curiosity, then grinned, accepting Jonathan as if this were the most natural thing in the world. The waiter adjusted settings without comment, and just like that, a billionaire CEO found himself sharing dinner with a single dad and his child. The warmth at the table felt unfamiliar to Jonathan, yet deeply comforting, like a memory he had almost forgotten how to access. As the evening unfolded, time seemed to soften. Jonathan listened as Michael spoke about raising Noah alone, about learning to cook simple meals, about struggling to be both strong and gentle every day. Michael, in turn, listened to Jonathan speak about building a company from nothing, about the cost of constant pressure, about how success had quietly replaced companionship. There were no grand speeches or dramatic confessions, only the steady exchange of real experiences, of two men discovering that their struggles were not as different as their bank accounts suggested. Noah laughed between bites of dessert, pulling Jonathan into simple games and innocent questions, reminding him of a world beyond quarterly profits and stock prices. When midnight approached, the restaurant buzzed with anticipation. Glasses were raised, and the countdown echoed through the room. Jonathan felt something shift inside him as the numbers fell, realizing he was not alone at the turning of the year. When midnight arrived, the room erupted in cheers, and Jonathan closed his eyes briefly, feeling gratitude instead of emptiness. For the first time in years, the new year did not feel like an extension of isolation, but like an open door. In the days that followed, Jonathan could not stop thinking about that night. The memory followed him into meetings and flights, lingering like a quiet reminder of what truly mattered. He reached out to Michael again, not as a CEO offering charity, but as a friend seeking connection. Over time, Jonathan became a steady presence in Noah's life, attending school events when Michael was working late, offering support without strings attached. Michael never asked for help, but Jonathan found joy in giving it, in being present rather than powerful. Slowly, Jonathan's life began to change. He restructured his work schedule, stepped back from relentless expansion, and started investing in people rather than just companies. Michael, with Jonathan's encouragement, pursued further training and eventually started his own small contracting business in Brooklyn. Their bond grew not from obligation, but from mutual respect and shared humanity. Two lives that might never have intersected had been quietly redirected by a single wave on a cold New Year's Eve. Just before this story comes to a close, take a moment to comment below. Share where you're watching from or tell us about a moment when a small act of kindness changed your life. Your words might inspire someone else more than you realize. Years later, Jonathan would look back on that night not as the moment he failed to get a table, but as the moment he finally found one. A table where wealth did not matter, where loneliness loosened its grip, and where a new definition of success was born. And if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness can rewrite destinies, please like, share, and engage with this video. Your support helps keep these stories alive, spreading hope one heart at a time, as the screen fades and the year begins anew.